Alright, on this short day we have a very straightforward lesson, ratios, rates, and conversions. This lesson covers two topics. The first topic is unit rate, and the second topic is converting units. A unit rate is short and sweet, but it is the unit conversion that's going to take a bit of practice and discipline. Again, more learned by experience than anything else. A lot of you are doing a pretty good job during the hour of bringing up questions, and hopefully the conversations you're having with me are clarifying your ideas. Others of you are hopefully clarifying it by having conversations with people around you, but again, you have to talk about some of these things in order to get them understood. Talking about unit conversion first, the key idea behind unit conversion is the placement of the words in the naming of the unit. For example, you've heard of miles per hour, and the word per in this idea typically means divide. So when you see miles per hour, if you're looking for miles per hour, you take your number of miles divided by your number of hours. If somebody said, what is the number of people per day? You take the number of people, per again means divided by your number of days. If they want to know dollars per ounce, you take the number of dollars, you divide by number of ounces. Some of the questions are going to ask you to determine which price is better. To answer this, we typically want to pay the least amount per unit. So in a question kind of like this, is it better to pay $1.84 for 8 ounces of medicine or $2.42 for 11 ounces of medicine? So what I would do here is 8 ounces, 11 ounces, and I would determine the unit price. And again, the unit price itself is based off of dollars per ounce, and so what we're going to look at here is dollars per ounce, because you have number of dollars divided by number of ounces. I would do 184 divided by 8 and get the answer of 23 cents per ounce. For the 11 ounce, again, you have dollars per ounce, so number of dollars divided by number of ounces, so 242 divided by 11, which gives me a unit price of 22 cents per ounce. And of course, if you're looking for the better price, you are getting the better price over here because you're paying 22 cents per ounce here versus 23 cents per ounce there, and that's pretty much how you answer it. I think there are some that give you like 3 options, but again, just do the same thing. Break it down to dollars per ounce, find out which one charges the least. As much as people like to say you don't use math, you use that idea all the time, especially whenever you go to stores and you have options between two things that have different amounts and different prices, so you can use that to actually figure out which deal is best for you. Be sure to take your time and think through these problems. Play with the wording to determine which unit works best. For example, are we looking for dollars per ounce or ounces per dollar? Again, there is a difference between these two things. Dollars per ounce is how much you pay per 1 ounce. Ounces per dollar says how much do I get for $1 of that material. So again, just thinking about what it means. If you're ever thinking about a word problem or trying to solve it, play around with the units and make sure you understand which unit you're looking for. You are going to want to write down the following units in your notes for later in terms of unit conversion, or at least write the ones that you do not already know. Most of you understand that the foot is equal to 12 inches. You understand that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. You also understand that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. But a lot of people don't know about the, well, they do typically know 1 yard, 3 feet, but the pounds to ounces and the miles to feet, whatever one that you do not know, you want to write down. And again, these are equation sentences, or I guess conversion sentences that we convert into a conversion fraction. The trick to converting units is just using the proper conversion fraction. For example, I'm going to use yards and feet. This is a conversion sentence, and your conversion fraction can either be 1 yard over 3 feet, because notice I put that on top, that on the bottom, or it could be 3 feet over 1 yard. And that is why you need to know your conversion sentences, because that allows you to make conversion fractions. Let's take, for example, this one, 1 hour and 60 minutes. You could do 1 hour over 60 minutes, or you could do 60 minutes over 1 hour. Now the thing about conversion sentences is, remember these two things are equivalent, which means that the fraction itself is equal to 1, because 1 hour divided by 60 minutes is going to be 1. Just like 3 feet divided by something that is 1 yard is going to be 1. And so we use it to convert, because as we know, multiplying by 1 does not change the amount or the value of something, it just changes the look. So in other words, you're making it look differently. So let's look at this example real fast. 7.3 pounds going to ounces. What you want to do whenever you do a conversion is write down what you already know, which is that we have 7.3 pounds. And what we're going to do is multiply that number by a fraction that eliminates pounds. Now keep in mind, pounds is here. Any word that is regular, like the number 5, is actually on the top of a fraction, which means if I want to cancel something, for example, if this was feet on top, then I want to make a fraction with feet on the bottom. So what we're going to do is, in order to eliminate pounds, we need a fraction that has pounds on the bottom. And of course, if you're looking at this one, it means that this one should go down here, 1 pound, and 16 ounces should go on top. Again, that's because if pounds is here, you want to cancel it by putting pounds on the bottom, which gets rid of it, and then leaves ounces, which is what we're looking for on top. The other thing you need to know is, and you might again want to write some of this stuff, you multiply by what's on the top. So we start out in our calculator work with 7.3, and since 16 is on top, we multiply by 16 to get 116.8. And again, it is now in ounces. Again, the key thing about our conversion fraction is that whatever I want to get rid of, if it's a regular term, a constant type term, you put it on the bottom. So again, the way you cancel this is by putting that unit on the bottom. That cancels, leaving us with ounces, which is our final answer. Alright, so again, you might have to ask some questions on that, but again, that's why I sit at my desk awaiting your arrival and your questions so that we can have great discussions about what's going on in your work. Convert the given amount to the desired unit. Again, 95 feet to yards. Once again, we want to start with what we know, which is 95 feet. And we know we're going to use a conversion fraction. Again, feet is here, which means we want feet on the bottom so they cancel. And you're going to yards. What I'll remember is that 1 yard equals 3 feet. And so we want feet on the bottom, which means that 3 feet will go here. And 1 yard will go there. Notice now the feet will cancel out, leaving us yards. But here's what you have to look out for. 95 again goes in first, but 3 is on the bottom. And again, what you might want to write is that you divide by whatever is on the bottom. So 95 divided by 3 gives us 31.7, I'll say, yards. And that is all. So again, if feet were here, which is what we were looking for, what we started with, we put them on the bottom to cancel them using our conversion fraction, and that gives us the math that we need to find out what we're looking for. Third one and last one, a car is traveling 35 miles per hour. What's the car's speed in feet per second? Well, here's what we do. First off, 35 miles per hour means 35 miles in 1 hour. So what you put is 35 miles over hours, because it's pretty much 35 over 1. So again, 35 miles over hours, and we're going to convert miles into feet first. That's the first thing we have to do, is again convert our miles into feet. Well, based off of what we wrote, the numbers that we had for miles and feet, again using our notes, is that 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. And so if I want to get rid of miles, which is blatantly on the top, we want miles to be on the top, which is 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. Notice how miles cancel, and we now have our feet. The problem is, even though we have our feet taken care of, it's feet per second, and we are right now in hours. And so we have to do some more conversion, but this is the tricky one. Again, this is the one tricky question on the whole assignment, is that we have to actually move now hours into seconds. But again, hours is on the bottom, which means that when we put our conversion part, in order to make a bottom unit cancel, we have to put it on the opposite, which would be on the top. And so our conversion part for hours is that hours goes to minutes. And so again, if hours is on the bottom, we want our 1 hour to be here, 60 minutes to be here. Again, that cancels because you have 1 on top, 1 on bottom. And we now need our minutes to go to seconds, which again, 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. Minutes cancel out. Notice that our top unit is feet, our bottom unit is seconds. That is feet per second, which is what we're looking for. And again, this is the only tricky question that you have on there. As long as you fight through the rest of it, you should at least get a good grasp on what's going on. But again, math-wise, keep in mind you multiply by whatever's on the top, you divide by whatever's on the bottom. This starts with 35. And then 5280 is on the top, so we put times 5280. 60 is on the bottom, so we divide by 60. The other 60 is on the bottom, so we divide by 60. We hit enter, and we get 51.3 feet per second. You'll notice that I did not use the ones because dividing by 1, multiplying by 1 does not affect much. And so again, when you do that, start with the first number and then follow the unit or the convention for top numbers multiply and bottom numbers divide, and that will walk you right to the answer that you need. Alright? So the information over the past 2 days is not focused so much on solving. What that means for us is that we have not had to stress on practicing our solving for a couple of days. Please don't waste this time in terms of getting better at solving, because this is a solving chapter. If you've been weak at solving, be sure to use this week to get better. Plan on making some of your quiz or week quiz scores up so you can increase your average before the end of the quarter, because what tends to happen is that you might be at a 81% right now, and then you mess up on one test or one quiz with the deadline coming up, and you end up at a 79.2, which would have been 80 something if you just took care of some of the stuff that you can. So again, plan on coming in before school, after school, or if not, talking to me about a time you can come in so we can work this out. I'm not that hard to work with. Just make sure you are taking the initiative to actually pursue your own education or your own success. My job is not to teach you math, it's to teach you how to succeed, and the first step to success is doing what you need to do to make yourself better. So even though you might think I'm being mean by telling you have to ask, or different by not seeking you out and saying you need to make it up, if you don't want to do it, I'm not going to make you do it. But if you want to do better, you need to find a way to do it by communicating with me. You have been doing a great job of mixing responsibility with the freedom that I'm granting you to work. Just be sure to keep to work on keeping your conversations in your own area so that others can focus. Again, it hasn't been too bad, but there have been some moments that I've had to kind of pull people back in. By the end of the year, I think we should be under control. Overall, our production as a group has increased, which is great. Keep it up, and good luck today. Remember, it's a shortened hour.